Dad, where do the stars come from? He smiled, handed me a beer, and said, sit down, son. It's time we had a chat. He said, some scientists will tell you that stars begin as whirling clouds of dust and gas in the interstellar medium caused by gravitational instability inside of molecular clouds triggered by shock waves from supernovas, which in turn create nuclear fusion and gravitating spheres of plasma in a hydrostatic equilibrium. But he said he knew for a fact that was all bullshit. The real answer had more to do with the ancient art of origami, paper folding. He pulled out a piece of tissue paper and began to tell me the story about the time when there were no stars in the sky. He said, son, that's what he called me. There was a time when there were no stars in the sky. Apparently my dad was a pirate. The sky was black and empty, just like your life will be one day. Yarr. He said there was one thing in the sky every night that everyone could see. And he began to fold his origami and then tear his origami, which is called terragami. It was the moon. But it wasn't the moon. When the moon would shine down on the ocean's waves, it would create these tiny sparkles of light that looked like stars. Chinese fan. And I remember thinking how weird that was, the fan and the origami. It wasn't until then I learned my father had spent the better part of his 30s traveling through Asia as a geisha. He said if you believe in magic, magic will happen, because one day those tiny sparkles of light, they were whipped into the air by mystical frolicking unicorns. And they became the stars that we see. And I never believed him until he took out his magical fan and he showed me. I'll never forget what my father said to me next. He looked at me square in the eye. He said, get a broom and clean all this shit up. My name's Michael Kent. Thank you so much for coming out tonight.